Hello, I'm Mayor Nahid Nenshi, and hey, it's National Child Day. And I'm sorry that I cannot be with you in person to both commemorate this day, but also talk about how all of our communities can be better for children and ultimately for all of us. I've said many times that communities that are built for children, that when we put children at the center of our policy decisions, we end up building better communities for everyone. Looking out for children's needs is about looking out for all citizens' needs and ultimately the community's needs. And I think as well, it's time for us to have a special focus on vulnerable children. You know, we live in times that are so divisive and angry and mean-spirited. People are looking out for themselves and their families, often with good reason. But sometimes that blinds us to the reality of very vulnerable people living in our community. And if we can't get it right for children at risk, if we can't get it right for vulnerable children, we don't have a community at all. And so when we make budget decisions, when we make policy decisions, we have to make sure that we're looking out for the needs of all citizens, but particularly the needs of children. Whether they are children of means, whether they are newcomer and refugee children, whether they are children of low-income families, whether they're children living in families that are struggling with mental health and addiction, whether they're everyday teenagers going to school every day where it looks like nothing's wrong. We have to make sure that we are building cities and communities that serve them, whether that's great public transit, excellent public education, or access to wonderful public recreation facilities. You know, I always think of myself growing up in this community. I grew up in a family that didn't have much money, but I did not lack an opportunity. Those things I mentioned. I graduated from great public schools. I haunted the public library. I explored the city on public transit. I kind of sort of learned how to swim in a public pool. But all of that means that the community had a stake in my success. They wanted me to grow up and they wanted me to do well. And that's ultimately what every single one of us has to do. So thank you, all of you, for your work in working with children and making our community better every single day. I wish I could say the work is over. I wish I could say the work will get easier. It might even get harder from here on in. But it's a fight worth fighting, because ultimately fighting for children means fighting for a better community.